Today it is time to say goodbye to some cows out here on the ranch. I've decided to take my Cull cows a little bit early this year. Some of you guys might remember that last year I waited a little bit longer so that they had enough time with the bull so that I could potentially sell them as bred cows. But this year I'm not doing that because my grass, my pasture out here is being pushed to the limit and I really need to get some cows off of it. And the ones that are gonna go anyway, well, this is just a good time to get rid of them. The other thing that I learned about trying to sell bred cows is if they're not very close to their calving date, the guy just marks them as open. So these girls haven't really been with the bull long enough. I wouldn't think that any of them would come up bred by auction standards. So we're just gonna do that today. There are 4 that are due to go and then 2 young ones. So the way that this would all normally start is with me going out in the pasture and rounding these cows up into the main working corral here so that I could separate off the ones that I need. But as I'm out here working on my water, I've noticed that the cows are all just kind of making their way up into the corral. They come up, you know, in the morning to get in the shade, and I guess I just have timed this right because they're all walking up right now. So I think if I just kind of am patient and wait for a minute, they'll all come up here and I won't have to chase anybody. While I've got everybody caught in the big corral, I've noticed that there's also a couple of pink eye cases that need some attention. So I think we'll doctor those cows first and then start pulling out the Cull cows. While I'm waiting for the last few cows to trickle into the corral, I guess a good way that I could spend my time is going around my shovel and chopping these thistles down. I get these bull thistles out here in the irrigated pasture. And fortunately, I haven't had them really take off too bad yet. I've seen pastures get overrun with these things, and obviously the cows want nothing to do with them, and who could blame them when you look at it? So that sounds like a good thing to do. I used to spray these, and you know, obviously that worked really good too, but the thing that I didn't like about spraying them is that not only would you kill the thistle itself, but you'd kill about 10 square feet of grass all around it. It could have been a poor technique on my part of spraying, but usually there's a little bit of a breeze when you spray, and that drift would just really knock this grass out. The grass is really susceptible. So I'm going back to the shovel method. I guess that's better. You can certainly target what you're going after, and it seems like if you get down into that root a little bit, they don't come back. If you work that shovel right, you can get down into that taproot and get quite a bit of it out. I think I read that you need to get at least like 2 or 3 inches of the root below the surface for that thistle to not come back. And I think I've got more like 10 inches of this thing, so I'm pretty happy with that. Well, it looks like about 3 calves and Hank have not made it up into this corral yet. Odds are those 3 calves are none of the ones that I need. I think I'll run over there and check, make sure they have good eyes, and assuming that they do, then I'll just leave them right where they're at. You don't want to be left out, so you guys don't want to be left out either? Well, go on then. That was pretty easy. Every time I operate this gate, I am reminded that there is a wasp nest in there, and I need to get over here in the morning when they're asleep and kill them all. But, you know, you only think about it when you open that gate. I think I just have 2 that need a pink eye treatment. Maybe just 1. 1 for sure, and 1 maybe. The one that's for sure is a black white face first calf heifer. I don't remember what number she is, but when I see her I'll know. Pink eye is a disease that definitely affects producers out here in the West. I'm not sure how prevalent it is in the East. I mean, I'm guessing it's the kind of thing where if you got cows, you got pink eye somewhere. A lot of people think that it's caused by flies. It's not caused by flies, but it is spread by flies. What causes pink eye is the cows have to first get a little abrasion on their eye, or some sort of opening that's going to allow bacteria to enter. Usually this is caused by rubbing their eye, you know, on brush or tall grass, maybe a foxtail or a seed head, something like that. Once this abrasion takes place and you've created a place for bacteria to enter, that's pretty much what happens. And this bacteria can be found on flies. So that is sort of their mode of spreading pink eye. There's several ways to identify pink eye, the most notable being a big white spot on their eye with sort of a pink or red outline. When we get her in the chute, I'll give you a closer look at that. You'll also notice their eyes running a lot. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have pink eye if their eyes are runny, but if they do have pink eye, their eyes will definitely be runny. I think I found her here. Standing behind this red cow, I don't know if you can see number 51. I believe that's who we're after. That'd be her right there. See? You can see how her eye is runny and swollen a little bit. Once we get her up in the chute, we'll get a closer look. Let's go. Let's go. The other thing to remember with pink eye cows is that they cannot see out of that eye that's infected. So I want to make sure that I'm making enough noise to where she knows where I'm at. So it's kind of good to be talking to you guys. Right now I'm on her blind side. Now she can see me. Hey, hey, hey. Come on, honey. This will be over before you know it. It's always at this moment I wonder if I remember to close all the right gates. I got in that tub and I don't know, the wasps just started coming at me. I couldn't tell where they were coming from. Now I see it's the bottom of one of my ratcheting posts there. Yeah, there must be a big nest in there, so I'm gonna need to do something about that. Now, because I'm catching her by myself, I don't have someone to get up behind her and push her while someone else runs the chute. What I do is I leave just a big enough hole in the head gate for her to see some daylight and kind of get an idea like maybe she can get through that. I open up the butt gate, and then as I walk her up, as soon as she gets in that chute, I can jump off of the catwalk and catch her. That actually went really easy. I'm gonna try to see if she will let me get a camera right up in her face and try to show you what this eye looks like. As we get a close look, you can see what I was talking about before. The main body of the eye is sort of that white, cloudy color, and then if the camera shows it or not, I'm not sure, but I'll assume that you guys can see the sort of pinkish red ring around the eye. As the eye heals, that white spot will get smaller and smaller, and pretty soon the eye will look somewhat normal, but there will probably always be a sort of white cloudy scar there. A lot of people wonder if once the eye heals, if they go back to being able to see. And the answer is yes, but to what degree, it's kind of impossible to say. We know what pink eye is. We know how to identify it. What can you do about it? Well, there's a few different ways that you can treat it, and over the years I've tried probably everything, And sort of what I've settled on, what I like the best, is just doing everything. It's not so easy for me to catch her, you know, every day or every other day and give her a treatment. So what I like to do is I first take this spray and I'll spray that in the eye. To me, I think this sort of cleans it, flushes everything out of there, and it does have some antibiotic in there that is going to help to fight this. Some people, this is all they do to treat pink eye, but not me. After I do the spray, the next thing that I will do is put in this NFC powder. This is actually for eye infections in dogs and cats, but it works awesome to treat pink eye in cows. I like to do that after the spray because, for one, I don't want the spray to wash all of the powder away, but for two, after the spray cleans the eye, I think the powder sort of sticks on there a little bit longer, and it'll cause the cows to tear up a lot. And I think there is something in the function of them tearing that helps treat this, because back in the old days, the old timers used to just flick salt in their eye, which would make it tear profusely, and that would cure it. I remember my grandpa telling me about doing that, and he said that it actually does work, but he didn't like to do it because every time he did it, you know, you flick the salt in their eye, you can just tell how much pain they're in, and he just didn't like doing that. And I'm kind of the same way. I don't like to hurt them if I don't have to. So the spray and the powder is probably sufficient to treat this, especially if it's not a very advanced case. But again, since I know I'm not going to see her again for a while, I like to give her a shot of LA200 as well. Now, the shot by itself would probably be sufficient to treat this. But like I say, all of these are probably sufficient by themselves, but I have found that when you put all three together, it's a pretty good way to handle this. So that's what I like to do. It's a lot easier to just do them all right now while I've got her caught. Then I can turn her back out, and in a week or so, she'll be right as rain. And you don't like that, do you? Easy does it. Open that eye, are you? So according to this label, if she weighs 900 pounds, she needs 40 and a half cc's. I think 40 cc's is going to be fine. And that's quite a lot. That's a pretty big injection. And if you pay attention, or if you know about beef quality assurance guidelines, you'll know that we don't want to put more than 10 cc's per injection site. So unfortunately for her, that means that she's getting 4 shots right now. Whew. Yeah, it's a lot. Well, we're halfway done. She really didn't seem to care for that too much, but unfortunately, it's just what we got to do. Just take it easy. Now you squirted a bunch of your medicine out. That's not good, is it? There. See there? That wasn't so bad, now was it? All right, well, she was not the best patient. It's kind of surprising, as calm as she was coming in here, she sure put up a fight. But she's done now. I throw a little hay in front of her just to sort of make amends, but we're gonna open the gate now and turn her back out with the others. All right, with her all finished up, I'm gonna walk through the cows one more time and see if I've got any more pink eye that needs immediate attention. take care of that, and then we can start to gather the cows that are going to the sale today. Okay, I think my other pink eye suspect that I was talking about before is one that I had actually doctored already and is still on the mend. So in other words, we're ready to start gathering cull cows. There we go. Go. Now, if you're looking at her thinking, boy, what a beautiful heifer that is, you're right. She is a good looking heifer, but the problem is she didn't have a calf. So that's why her body condition is so good. She's not nursing anybody. She's just been getting fat all summer. Okay. I don't lose her. That's her there. Left. There we go. I might get lucky. Wow. Keep going. Don't stop. All right. Well, I got pretty lucky with that little heifer. I didn't think there was any way she'd go back there by herself. But now we are just down to one more calf, and I can't remember if I've talked about this one before or not, but he's actually from last year's calf crop, and when I was loading him, he was able to get through the fence or something. I don't remember now. Somehow he got away, and it just wasn't worth unloading that load to reload everyone again. I figured I'd just keep him, and whenever I took cull cows or something, I'd throw him on the trailer with them. Well, that day has come, so now we just got to find him. Here he is. This is the last one going to the sale today. Just kidding. He's gonna stay. Hey. All right, well, that is everybody. Let me go home, get the truck and the trailer. We'll come back here. Before we load them up, though, I want to go through each one that's going and talk about why. We're back now. We got the trailer all backed up. Every time I look at this loading alley, I'm just reminded of how badly it needs to be fixed. But let's go ahead and walk through the cows that I've got separated here, and we can talk about why they got chose to leave. First, we've got our fall calf, and if you guys don't remember the story with this, go back. There's a few videos back I talk about how we ended up with a fall calf in our spring calving herd. Originally, I'd thought about keeping her, but the reality is she's just going to be off schedule for our spring calving herd. It just wasn't going to work. So She needs to go. Not to mention the fact that the last time I had her in the corral, she was trying to jump fences and acting crazy. I don't need that. The rest of these cows, 34, 43, and 56, all did not have calves this year, so that's a pretty easy decision there. And then the last one that I might get some grief for is number 13. I decided to get rid of her as well because she's just been off schedule too many times with her calves, and I decided that those are just genetics that I don't want in this herd. So because of the grass is really being pushed right now, she's a really big cow and she's got some reproductive issues, I decided that it was time to send her down the road. Come on. You little bugger. Same thing you did last time. So this little bummer calf pulled the slip on me again. Now I've got things done a little bit differently. Hopefully he won't be able to escape this time. Man. Turn it around. Turn it around. Now if he goes right, I'll have it made. Okay. Now the challenge is I got to get that gate open, get him in without losing any cows. Get in there, you. Well, that was a messy film job to say the least, but we got him in there. And you know, usually I don't like to ship cows and calves at the same time because, you know, there's a chance that the bigger cows might injure the smaller calves, but these calves are big enough where I don't think that's an issue. So, not to mention the fact that the trailer is not jam-packed. There's plenty of room in there for them to escape and move around and get comfortable. Once we get going, they'll settle down and kind of quit moving. So with that being said, I guess we better hit the road. We're back here at the ranch now. The Cull cows have been delivered, and as I walk through the cows here, it is kind of nice to just know that every cow that I'm looking at out here is a contributing member and doing everything that they're supposed to do. Selling Cull cows it's always kind of bittersweet because on the one hand, I mean, some of these cows have been with the ranch for a while and it's kind of sad to see them go. But on the other hand, it's nice to know that all of my inputs that I put into the herd are now being utilized by cattle that are pulling their weight, except for this one. Thanks for hanging out at the ranch with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.